workshops is I like to focus on setting a positive emotional state, and that's going to become a lot more relevant, and you're going to understand why that is a lot more as this workshop goes on. But I want everyone here to imagine or recall a time in your life when you were truly proud of yourself. And that can be any accomplishment, whether that's graduating from college, whether that's you set out to bake the perfect birthday cake for a loved one, whatever it is for you, I don't care. But I want you to focus on that right now and just really take yourself back to that moment whenever you did achieve that, whenever you felt proud about that, okay? And as you do that, I want you to think about how that felt, and no matter how that intensity level is for you, on a scale from 1 to 10, wherever you're at, just see if you can just crank it up just a little bit. See if you can just feel it just a little bit more and connect with that moment just a little more. Whenever you do that, I want you to really focus on whether or not you can do that. Can you do that? Can you guys do that? You can do that? So if you can take it from, if you felt proud about yourself, what's a moment that you felt proud about yourself?
Graduating from physical therapy school.
Physical therapy school. And so whenever you consider that now, how does that make you feel?
Right now?
Yeah. Or in that moment and even now, how did that make you feel?
Oh, it was awesome.
It was awesome, right? Yeah. Whenever you consider that moment, how do you reflect on that? How does that pop in your head? What do you see in your mind?
I don't really reflect on it.
You don't reflect on it? So if you were to go back there right now, what would you be seeing or hearing, or who would be there? What moment is it? Was it walking across the stage? Is it just being there with the others?
Walking across the stage.
Walking across the stage. Did you hear any sounds while that was going on, or were you just focused on just getting that diploma?
My wife yelled something up from the balcony.
And you heard her? Yeah. That's awesome. That's fantastic. So, and whenever you think about that now, on a scale from 1 to 10, how intense is that feeling? 1 being not hardly at all, 10 being I really
like right now, do I feel like I'm there doing that?
Yeah, yeah.
Happened to me? I don't know. I don't. Probably low.
Probably low, like 1 to 5, somewhere around there. Okay, so I just want you to see if you can. Just see if you can crank it up. See if you can intensify it just a little bit and feel it and really, really connect with that. And everybody just kind of take part in that, okay? Just really setting that positive emotional state. And the reason we do that is because it's a lot easier to learn something going from a state of accomplishment, of achievement, knowing that you can accomplish a goal. It's a lot easier to learn a new thing, okay? So that's one of the most important aspects of mindset and getting your mind right whenever you first start out to accomplish something new. Does that make sense? Awesome. All right, so let's go ahead and this is just a sensations correlating to emotions diagram. You can go to ncbi.nlm.nih.gov to find this study that was conducted. And what they did was they basically let people self-assess if you were feeling a certain emotion, what that felt like in your body and where you felt it, the tactile sensations. Okay? So emotions coordinate our behavior and physiological states during survival salient events and pleasurable interactions. Even though we are often consciously aware of our current emotional state, such as anger or joy, the mechanisms giving rise to these subjective sensations have remained unresolved. Does everybody understand what that means? Okay, fantastic. Here we used a topographical self-report tool to reveal that different emotional states are associated with topographically distinct and culturally universal bodily sensations. Okay? So if you can consider that now, whenever people feel anger, the majority of people feel heat in those areas. Okay? Whenever people feel depression, people feel cold or empty in that way. Okay? And these are self-reporting tools, and this is what people, by and large, of the study in the group. And if anybody wants this PowerPoint so that you can go back and look this stuff up, just send me an email. I have no problem giving you this, okay? But that's what kind of gets you an idea of some of like what we just went through with it, setting that emotional state. It's just kind of when you think about that, where did you feel it? How did that represent your body when you felt that? Okay? So we want to kind of think about that. Now, that gets us into what is preframing. Preframing is the act of creating models of positive character traits, goals, achieving goals, living intentionally, and developing productive habits and behaviors through, tonight we're going to learn the have-want method, Okay, this is a neuro-linguistic programming technique that I created, and then we're going to go through the preframing terminal, which was an existing NLP technique created by Dr. Richard Banley. The purpose of defining terms like what preframing is by establishing these linguistic frames of reference, we can better assess whether a situation with a client, an acquaintance, or even our friends, if this is the right fit to use preframing. Okay? It may not be the right fit to use preframing. We may have to use another tool that we'll get to later on, but this will help us assess whether or not this is the right situation. So, if we're trying to create positive character traits, think about the character traits that matter most to us and which ones are positive. If we're trying to achieve goals and we want to set those goals up, and we want to use preframing. If we're trying to live intentionally, okay, that's another reason that we'll do that. Or if we're trying to develop productive habits and behaviors. So if there's any time that you find in your life that you're wanting to do any of these things, preframing might be the way to go. Alright? So let's move along. We are moving relatively quickly. Alright, let's talk about the 4 stages of competence or the learning process. Whenever you think about these 4 stages, I want you to consider the fact that anytime you learn something new, you go through these 4 stages. Okay, so tonight, as you're going through these 4 stages, just realize that you're probably not going to be all the way to number 4 if this is the first time you're ever hearing something like this. At the end of this, you're going to be somewhere between 1 and 4. Okay, so the first level is unconscious incompetence. That's I don't know what I don't know. I don't know. I can't know what I don't know. Right? If I've never been introduced to a topic before, there's no way that I have any information about it. So I can't know what I don't know. That's unconscious incompetence. I'm unconsciously aware of that which I'm incompetent about. Okay? Now the next stage, whenever you discover the thing, now you're consciously incompetent. Okay, that's the second stage. I know about it now, but obviously I'm no expert. Right? So if you consider whenever you were first learning to tie your shoes, most of us probably can't remember that, but if you think about it whenever you were first trying to learn how to drive a car, this would be the point whenever you're nervous to even get behind the wheel. Okay? You're not even sure how that's going to work for you. So then we go to conscious competence. That's now I'm aware how to do this thing, I'm aware of it, and I'm pretty good at it. This is probably whenever you're 6 to 12 months into learning how to drive a car, and you're barely having to remind yourself to stay up at 10 and 2, and barely having to remind yourself to put your blinker on half a block before your turn, and all that kind of stuff. In Tulsa, nobody puts on their blinker ever, so it doesn't matter. But and so you're with great effort, you're acquiring and executing a new skill. But the place we want to get to with things like preframing is the mastery level. Okay, and that's unconscious competence. That's where I could hand anybody in this room the keys to my vehicle. You could go out there, you could jump in it, you could drive it, you could probably be fixing your hair in the mirror and drinking a cup of coffee while you're doing it and not even think about it, right? That's whenever you got to the level of unconscious competence, that's the mastery level. And so this is where our negative and positive emotional states live. Nobody has to educate you on how to get happy. Nobody has to educate you on how to be sad or angry. Our emotional states are already there. We have mastered that. We know how to do that. I can get happy or excited anytime I want. And most of the time I don't even have to think about it. It happens to me, just quickly. Okay? So we're going to talk a little bit about that. Now, let's talk about a few of the implications of mirror neurons and the reasons why we learn. Who in here knows anything about mirror neurons? Okay, so whenever you see somebody eating or sucking on a lemon, and your lips purse and your tongue begins to salivate a little bit, that's the activation of mirror neurons. Okay? Mirror neurons are what help us learn as humans. So can you guys see that there's a red circle, a green circle, and a yellow circle? Okay. So if you want to move closer so that you can see that these are in almost identical places, but not exactly the same, you can. If you're not that concerned about it and you think you can understand by just me pointing at it and letting you know what's going on, that's fine as well. So whenever this is the area of the brain that's the amygdala, which is where our emotions reside, and this is the area of the brain that's the hippocampus region. That's our long-term memory. Both of these have to be activated simultaneously in order for us to learn a new thing. Okay? So the red circle here That's what happens whenever you're performing an activity. Anytime you're actually doing it yourself, that's the part of the brain that lights up. If you're witnessing the action, you're watching somebody else do it, the green part lights up. If I'm just watching, if I'm just hearing about it, if somebody's just telling me about going skiing in the Alps and how amazing it was and how the wind was flying by and they were going down, all of a sudden, that part of the brain lights up. Same thing as if I'm doing it, okay? We can even learn through vicarious experience. That's what's so amazingly powerful about our brains, all right? So mirror neurons are what enable our empathy, our skill building through mimicry, and even our vicarious experiences. That's why we can relate to other people when they start talking about things that they've been through, okay? This is all going to matter in a minute, I promise. We'll get to the reasons this matters, but we want to talk about why we learn and why this is important. So, again, the hippocampus region, as you can see, that's the area of the brain that we just looked at from the bird's eye view. And the amygdala, just here, was on the front part of the brain, is what we just looked at, okay? And that's the reason that we use this method is because the nature of the limbic system is that whenever you activate both your hippocampus and your amygdala at the same time, this becomes something that you now know. It goes into your unconscious, your subconscious, and you don't have to actually try to keep reminding yourself, okay, about these things. So whenever you're trying to create goals, whenever you're trying to connect with the best version of yourself, you want this to be long-term memory in your subconscious or unconscious part of your processing of your mind. Okay? Does that make sense to everybody? Anybody need me to slow down and go back over anything? No? Okay, great. All right. We're already halfway through this. Okay. Personal emotional needs. Why should you implement this tool or technique? What would change for you if you woke up connected to a pre-framed positive version of yourself? Some of the things that some clients and people who have attended some of these conferences and workshops have said is that they gain confidence, they connect with their authenticity, their authentic self, and who they really are. They are able to build rapport and trust with others because of that confidence and because of that authenticity. It increases their communication because they're not so concerned about how they're coming across. They're connected with who they really are. Their intentionality goes way up. So they're not even having to second guess themselves or be reactive. They're being intentional and proactive. And then finally, their outcomes start to be more positive. They start to experience more positivity in their day-to-day interactions with others. Okay? So those are some of the reasons why you should use some of these techniques. You'll probably have your own to add to this. All right? All right, so what I want to do really quickly is, now that you know why we're going to be learning this stuff, I want to go ahead and talk about the preframing terminal. Now, the preframing terminal is different for everybody, and we will have a few different ways of going through this. Now, what I want everyone to do is turn to, let's see, in your workbook, I want everybody to turn to the page where we're going to do a linguistic self-assessment. So that is page 4, section 3, page 4. And I want everybody to take a moment, and we're going to do, this is a self-assessment, so questions 1 through 5. You're going to number these. If this is the most like you, put a 4 there. If it's the least like you, put a 1 there. If it's, and you're going to have to write this. So it's 4 is most, 1 is least. And rank them in that order. Every single line gets a number, 1 through 4. Just take a few minutes and do that really quickly. Mr. Cash, do you want to share what yours was?
Sure. So I had the internal dialogue was my primary. My secondary beyond that was the auditory.
Auditory. Internal dialogue, auditory. Is anybody else ready? You want to share? Same. Internal dialogue and auditory.
Visuals close third.
Visuals close third. It's pretty common for you.
Mine was I, but the DAK was all pretty much the same.
Pretty much the same across the board, but you had high internal dialogue. Okay. And for you, Leslie?
Nothing on that one. I have got A and K.
A and K, was A highest?
Yeah, A was highest.
So auditory and then kinesthetic? Yeah. Okay, cool. So since you three guys are kind of have the same type of linguistic styles, we're going to include Leslie a lot in this so that you start to kind of learn some someone who doesn't have your particular preferred style, because it's really easy for us to get stuck in a rut of what we prefer, okay? So if somebody's primarily a visual thinker, what types of words do you think you're going to hear from that type of person?
Descriptive.
Descriptive. How?
Adjectives.
Adjectives, what types?
Like,
Colorful, vibrant.
Colorful, vibrant. How about like sights?
see.
Anything you can
Yeah.
see, right? So what you can see, sights. Give me some of those.
You mean like a sunset, like a?
Like they would like imagery.
Right.
They would like diagrams. They would like to map it out. They'd love to see some visuals, right?
Somebody that draws and takes notes and
That's
makes
right.
charts.
They would like to draw it out. That's right. Visuals. Okay? Fantastic. All right. What if somebody's auditory? What types of words are they going to, for descriptions and for descriptive words, what type of words would they want to hear?
It's like taking it apart, you can't, trying to make the noise again.
Noise, right? They want to hear noise. They want to hear
Music.
music. That's music to my ears, right?
Yeah.
I want to hear what that sounds like.
Everything's better with music.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to hear what that sounds like to you. I'd love to chat about it, right? They want to chat. They want to have a talk, right? They'd love to hear more, right? So that's auditory thinkers. That's the type of words they're going to use whenever they want you to add more information. They're going to say, talk to me about it. I want to hear more. I'd love to get my head wrapped around that, get some more music. I'd like the sound of that. That's music to my ears. All those types of
Like,
things.
it's like he's saying he wants to sell things and they say, well, that sounds good to me.
Yeah.
And he's gonna automatically realize, oh, okay.
Oh yeah, I'm connecting now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that sounds good. Yeah, absolutely. Kinesthetic people are feelers, touchers, feelers, right? So what types of words are you going to hear? First of all, feeling, right?
Yeah.
Touch. Touch, yeah. How about, I'll reach out next week. Reach out, you know. My gut is telling me. My gut, right? My gut, it's you, didn't it?
Yeah,
All of a
right,
sudden,
right.
our kinesthetic person says,
Yeah,
yeah,
right,
yeah, right? What else? Intuition.
Yeah.
I just trust my intuition. Yeah. All right. What about our internal dialogue, folks? How do you want to hear description?
Thanks.
We'll love some facts, wouldn't you? Would love some facts. I'd love
evidence.
Evidence.
Yeah,
Evidence.
same thing,
Evidence.
Maybe
Proof.
diagrams and charts and things.
Oh no, those are more visuals.
Okay.
Results.
Okay.
Results.
Okay.
History.
History. Data.
Yeah.
If you guys don't notice, I also am an ID. I'm an internal dialogue, auditory digital guy. Facts, evidence, proof, results, history, data, processing. We need to calculate this. I really would love to sit down, make sure we analyze it, right? All this is internal dialogue. If you're an internal dialogue person right now, you're lighting up like crazy. Yeah, that's me. That's what I need. In order for me to understand you, I need data, I need facts, I need evidence, I need proof, internal dialogue. So, talking to a visual person, I see what it is you're trying to show me. I would love to look that over next week. We can map some stuff out. Maybe I can provide you some visuals with some imagery, some things like that. Help? Yeah, visual person's going to be going, yeah, like crazy, right? Auditory person, that sounds great. I'd love to hear more about this. Would you like to chat about it next week? Maybe we could see what that sounds like. Maybe, I don't know, maybe something will be music to your ears. Auditory person's just going crazy. Yep, that's me, right? Kinesthetic person, this feels good, but I gotta trust my gut on stuff like this. You know, my intuition's gotta be there. I'll reach out next week and let's touch base. Maybe something will resonate with you. If it resonates with you, maybe it'll resonate with me. Maybe we can get together and make something work, right? Kinesthetic person, auditory digital, internal dialogue thinker is going to be like, hey, listen, I like what it is that I'm hearing, but I need facts. I'm going to need to see some evidence. We should probably sit down and do some processing, analyze this stuff, get some calculations together. by next week, if we are able to produce some real results, probably going to be something that I can go ahead and proceed with. Right? So these are all the different types of ways that people think. All right? That they think in language. And that's why language is important. All right? So now that you know how you think and how you like to process information, don't get stuck in it. But for tonight, we need to focus on you and how you think. Okay? Because pre-framing tonight is about you and getting your mind right and clearing out your head trash. Connecting with the best version of yourself. Alright? Okay. So, let's talk about the pre-framing terminal. Now, what we're talking about now is our traits that we care about most. Alright? These are our traits that we care about most. So, what I want you to do is I want you to imagine that you are about to go on the vacation of your dreams. Where do you guys want to go?
The beach.
The beach. What beach?
Oh, Cozumel or, Cancun or, yeah.
Cozumel, Cancun. What about you guys?
Cabin in the woods.
Cabin in the woods. Any specific one? Do you have an area that you want to go to?
Colorado mountains of some sort.
Colorado mountains. Great. Cabin in the woods. You'd be happy. What about you guys?
Sailing in the South Pacific.
Sailing in the South Pacific. Awesome. Do you know what type of ship you're going to be on? What type of
Catamaran.
Okay, awesome. For you? Going to the beach. Does it matter which one? Not really. Okay, great. So I want you to think about that now. You're about to embark on this journey, but you're sitting in the terminal, you're about to board, and over your shoulder you happen to hear your name. And you don't mean to eavesdrop, but you can't help it, right? Somebody says your name, they say, hey, do you know Leslie? Or do you know Wesley Cash? And then you kind of glance over your shoulder and you see two people talking about you that you respect. These can be any two people. I don't care who they are, but if you need to write them down, okay? These two people are talking about you, and you care what they think. They're talking about you. Now, they're going to say to the other person, do you know Wesley Cash? I do. You know what I love most about that guy? Now, they're going to say three things about you. These are the traits that you care about most. I want you to find a place on your workbook and write down what those three traits are. Those three characteristics, those three traits, those three behaviors, it doesn't matter what it is.
Oh, that'll be one of those?
Nope.
I was gonna say, I just
Nope,
wrote down.
this is in some of the workshops, this is some of the words that occasionally people have trouble coming up with their three. Listen, if you've got more than three that started coming, go ahead and write them down. Write down more. If you've got more that matter to you, that if people thought this about you, that would be important. These two people that you admire, that you care what they think about you, if they thought this about you, that would matter. Leslie, what did you have?
Honesty, compassion, friendly.
Honest, compassionate,
Friendly.
and friendly.
I put a couple others too.
You have any more that matter?
Trustworthy and funny.
Trustworthy and funny. Great. Does anybody else want to share? Your words?
So I had little, personable, funny, dependable, and honest.
All right, I had loyal, funny, personable, dependable, and honest. Is that right? Anybody else want to share yours?
Caring, helpful, and consistent.
Caring. Helpful. Consistent. Wes, you want to add?
That's what I got.
By the way.
Passionate, determined.
Passionate, determined. What else?
I was trying to think of another one, but I couldn't.
Is that good enough?
Yeah.
Is it good enough? People think that about you? That's all that matters. Is that if you've got a few things that if you could walk away from that, and if everybody thought that about you, if that's good enough, you'd be okay with that. That's what we want. Okay? These words matter most to you. Now, I want everybody, now that you think about this, and I'm going to say these words back to you one more time, make sure that they're right. Okay? Because if you need to change them, right now is the time to change them. These two people are talking about you. You're about to embark on a journey. And they look over and they say, do you know Leslie? Absolutely, I do. You know what I love most about her? She's honest, compassionate, friendly, she's trustworthy. Man, she's funny. Is that it? That's right. Tell you what was your name one more time? Seth. Seth. Hey man, do
Can
you
I
know
ask a
Seth?
question real quick?
Yeah.
What I was trying to figure out the word for was like somebody who's doesn't have that herd mentality.
Okay. Independent thinker.
Yeah, I guess.
Is that okay?
Or a leader, yeah.
Leader.
Sure.
Which one? What
Leader.
Leader. Okay, cool.
As soon as you said the herd mentality, I thought that's a leader. You
Leader. All right, cool.
Pioneer.
Pioneer. All right.
Yeah.
Even better.
Yeah, definitely.
You want to get rid of leader?
Yeah.
I like that. Pioneer, that's cool.
Awesome. All right. So Seth, two people speaking about you. You overhear it. You don't mean to eavesdrop, but you do. And they say, you know Seth? I do know Seth. You know what I love about that guy? He is loyal. Funny, personable, dependable, and he's honest. Is that it? Those are the right words? Okay. All right, Wes in the back. Wes in the back. Leslie or Wes?
Either.
Either one. You're cool with
We've
either?
got a lot of names.
Okay. Haven't we all? All right. So, have you heard? Do you know Wesley Kev? I do. I do, man. You know what I love most about that guy? He's caring. He's helpful. Man, dude is consistent. Right words? Yep. Still good. All right. One more time, Wes. I'm talking about you, man. Look over your shoulder. I'll tell you what, dude. Wes, man. What is it you love most about Wes? I'll tell you, dude. He's passionate. Determined. That guy, he's a pioneer. Those the right words? Awesome. Okay. Now what I want you guys to notice is something that we're going to demonstrate real quickly without language. I'm going to write a word up here, and then I'm going to go around the room and I'm going to ask everybody what popped into your head the minute that you read it and your mind generated some sort of idea to you. Okay? You guys ready? Wes, what popped in? Quack. You heard it? Okay. Mr. Cash? Bird. A bird. Did you see the bird? Nope, you just thought bird. Okay. You did. You just thought bird. Did you see a bird? Not at all. No type of bird came to your head. What about you, Leslie? Aflac.
And I saw the little bird running around.
You did. You saw the white duck running
Yeah,
around.
he was
Okay.
running around.
Perfect. All right, so I've done this workshop with hundreds of people, and every single time I go around the room, everybody's got something just a little bit different. Whenever we start to get in there and start to really examine what popped into their heads immediately, and whenever they start to explore it, everybody's a little different. Now, why does that matter? The reason that matters is that you're the only person who knows what it looks like whenever you're these. You're the only person that knows this version of you. Nobody else can generate that. This exists only in your mind, which means that it is literally only something that you can produce. Nobody else can show you what this means. This has a singular meaning to you that is exclusive. It's yours and yours alone. So I want you to connect with that now, because this is the you that matters. This is the you that you can take into every professional or personal situation from this day forward. And you're the only one who knows what it looks like, what it sounds like, what it feels like to be this version. Nobody else can produce this. Just like nobody else can produce the duck that came to your mind whenever I wrote it. Nobody else can produce this. Just you. So if that's what matters, and that's what matters most, then that is the person that you wake up daily and you look in the mirror and you remind yourself of being in the terminal, overhearing somebody talk about you and thinking, who do I want to be today? When I walk into every situation, when I walk into a sales meeting, when I walk in with a client, when I walk in with my spouse, when I walk in with my kids, it doesn't matter who it is I'm interacting with, who do I want to be? I want to be this. This is what matters most. Any other words you want to add out of now? Anything else comes up that you know this is the you that you want to be? Because right now you can connect with that version of yourself and nobody else knows what that person looks like, feels like, sounds like except you. Which means that you're the only one that can produce it. It's unique and it's exclusive to you. Okay? So this is called the preframing terminal. And what happens is whenever we do this exercise, our mirror neurons that we learned about earlier, whenever you see somebody eating a lemon or sucking on a lemon and all of a sudden your tongue begins to salivate, your lips purse, your mirror neurons activate the same way as if you saw yourself literally being that guy, being that girl, being that person. Your mirror neurons activate and it releases all the chemicals in your brain that you need for you to actually begin to experience that physiology, to be that person, to pre-frame and start to be intentionally that version of yourself. So you have to literally sit down and activate your mirror neurons. Focus on what it would look like, what it would sound like, and what it would feel like to be this version. And this will give you the best foot forward when you go into every interaction with every person. It's something that you can do in 5 minutes every single day. Does that make sense? Awesome. Okay, so these are some of the phrases that other people have come up with. I like you guys; they're awesome. These are great. But if you need to remember that, make sure that you keep that written down somewhere. Keep it in front of you. Write it on your mirror. Do something where you can practice this until it gets to where it is natural, where you wake up daily and you just activate those mirror neurons and you just go and start being that person.
Affirmations.
So affirmations are great.
But
this is you. You created this.
Right.
You thought of what do I want other people to see in me and to experience whenever they think of me. That's why this was such an important exercise. Because it's not something anyone else is giving you. It's not socially imposed anything else. It's just what you want people to think of you. Okay? Alright. So, moving on. Talking a little bit more about activating mirror neurons. As you connect to that version of yourself, what do you see? So how do you see yourself? Are you wearing a suit? Are you standing tall? Are you communicating with others? Are you speaking in front of people? Are you interacting with your spouse, your kids? What's happening whenever you see that version? Whenever you consider what this person looks like? Whenever you're honest, compassionate, friendly, trustworthy, funny, loyal, personable, dependable, honest, funny. Whenever you're caring, helpful, consistent, when you're passionate, determined, when you're a pioneer, what does that look like? What do you see? What pops in your head? Consider the visuals and the imagery that you have. That's where we begin activating the mirror neurons. Then we go into what do you feel? How does that make you feel whenever you consider what it would be like if everybody thought of you that way? What do you feel? How does that connect with you? What does it make you feel on the inside? Finally, what do you hear? What are the sounds that would be playing out in your mind if you were actually doing that right now? If you were being that person and interacting with people in that way, in the way that you wanted to, what would you be hearing? A lot of praises, a lot of people going, man, you're really great at what you do. I really respect you. Would you be hearing yourself thunder confidently out what you believe and what you're passionate about? Would that be something that you hear? All of that stuff is the way we activate our mirror neurons. Whenever we really focus on what that looks like, what it feels like, what it sounds like to be that person. And we take all that, that's the data that we need to activate mirror neurons to get the results that we're looking for. Does that make sense to everybody? Perfect. Awesome. Alright. So we're getting near to the end of this. If anybody has anything that they want to change in their lives, that's where we're going into with this. This is called the have-want technique. You can do this anytime you want to at your house. You can do this anytime from here on out. But basically what I do is I draw two lines, or I draw a line down the middle of the paper, okay? On the left-hand side, I put what I currently have or what I'm currently experiencing. And then on the right-hand side, I put what I want, okay? Now on the left-hand side, I always ask myself, I ask my clients, what is it that you're experiencing right now? What's going on in your life that you have right now that you no longer want? Some of the things that I've had people hire me for are they say they want to quit smoking. Okay? They're tired of a certain sweet. I've had somebody hire me because they literally couldn't stop eating Reese's peanut butter cups. She was like, I just can't do it. I'm not able to stop. Could be anything. Whatever it is that you're experiencing, lack of self-confidence, negative self-talk. It doesn't matter what it is, but if you're experiencing something right now and you don't want it anymore, that goes over here. You just write it out. Okay? That's the first thing you write about. Then you got to ask yourself a question. What's wrong with feeling that way for you? Why is this a problem? Answer that question. Why is this a problem? What about this thing that you're experiencing right now is so negative? What's so bad about it to you? My granddad smoked the entire time I knew him. For me, smoking whenever I was a kid was not a bad thing. I didn't think anything of it. We know a lot more now, obviously, than we knew whenever I was a kid. But for me, smoking, although I don't smoke, it was never something that I thought of as a super negative thing. I loved my grandpa, I thought the world loving, so I didn't think of it as negative, even though it's a habit I didn't pick up. So whenever people hire me for smoking, I need to find out why it's bad for them.
Are we supposed to be answering the question?
If you want to.
Oh, okay.
If you want to, if not, just kind of, consider what this would be like. If you know somebody you love that could benefit from this, if you have a team that you work with that you're kind of a supervisor for, or if you oversee, a small group, a Sunday school group, whatever it is, if you start thinking about running them through this exercise. What are you experiencing that you no longer want to experience? What's going on? What do you have right now that you're sick of? What's wrong with it? Why is it a problem? What's the big deal? Finally, the last question is, what will be the outcome if nothing changes? So let's fast forward 5 years, nothing changes, what's the deal? I've had people with the smoking that say, well, I might have lung cancer. I might die of lung cancer, esophageal cancer. I might, might end up with a tumor. I might develop type 2 diabetes. I might, get to where I can't run up the stairs anymore. Whatever it is that's like they have to let you know, or you have to come up with what's so bad about it if nothing changes. What's the end result? Now, the most difficult part, this is normally really easy for people. The negative part is super simple. Most of the time when I work with clients, they can easily tell me the problem that they have, what's wrong with it, what's going to be the outcome, if nothing changes. That's normally super simple. Everybody's just like, yeah, they just walk through that. The other side now, that's where people get hung up and they get stuck. So I'll ask them, what do you want instead of what you've been experiencing, and state that positively. What do you guys think happens most often whenever I ask them, okay, what do you want instead? Sometimes I get, I'm not sure. Other times I get, I don't want to smoke anymore. So we just talked about activating mirror neurons. When I hear about something, when I see something, when I watch somebody else do something, or if I do something myself, the same parts of the brain are activated. So what happens if I say, don't imagine a black cat running across the floor?
You're gonna see it.
So whenever they tell me I don't want to smoke anymore, what did they just see in their mind?
They originally thought smoking.
That's right. They didn't negate it at all. They're restating what it is they already have that they don't want.
So you need to replace something with what you
Positively stated. Positively stated. Yeah.
So if it was smoking, you would say, you don't want to smoke anymore. Instead, you would say,
I wanna have
something
healthier
like,
lungs.
I can breathe better.
I want to breathe better.
Yeah.
I want to have healthier lungs.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. What do you want instead? So if you go to page 7, you'll see an outline of what we're doing right now. This is called the pure formula. So once you're using the have one technique, you use the pure formula to develop the right-hand column. Okay? P-U-R-E. This is to ensure that you activate mirror neurons and you connect with the outcome that you want. Whatever it is, the goal that you want, it's super, super fun. So what we do first is it's got to be positively stated. Now, most people, whenever I tell them this in workshops, people will always think I mean you have to be positive about it. Like it needs to be a positive outcome. That's not it. It needs to be the opposite of whatever you have. It needs to be positively stated what you do want, not a restating of what you don't want. Positively stated. I do want healthier lungs. I want to be in control of what I put in my mouth. I want to be the boss of me. I want to exercise daily. Whatever it is that they don't want anymore, it has to be positively stated on the other side, not a restatement of what they don't want. Very, very important. We don't want to activate those mirror neurons in that negative capacity anymore. We want to start activating the mirror neurons to see what it is we do want on the other side. Okay? Under my control. You. Under my control. How much fun is it whenever somebody else tries to control your behavior? Not going to happen. Not going to happen, right? Forget it. Don't try to control my behavior. So if you're coming up with a goal and what you do want, how smart is it to have it dependent upon somebody else's behavior? Doesn't work. So I've had people hire me because they said they want to eat healthy. And I say, well, who does the cooking? Well, she does. Not anymore. If this is going to be under your control, you've got to take this on. What are you going to do now? Under your control, under my control. It's got to be positively stated what I do want, not what I don't want, under my control. Real. It's got to be realistic. 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 So, what does that mean? I've had people hire me and tell me they want to be a billionaire. First thing I do is sit down with them and I go, how long have you been a millionaire? Not a millionaire. Can we start there? Could we start for something that's maybe something that your brain could latch on and maybe a little realistic? So don't say if you're smoking 2 packs a day, we're not going to say tomorrow I'd like to not smoke anymore, period. Probably. We're probably going to start in steps. Okay? Even if that main goal, that main outcome is positively stated as I want to have healthier lungs. Healthier lungs could be 1 pack a day rather than 2 packs a day. So it needs to be realistic. It needs to be in increments that you can believe. Because what happens whenever you wake up and you do some sort of affirmation where you say, I'm a billionaire, I'm a billionaire, I'm a billionaire. What little voice is going on in the back of your head?
Right.
You're a liar, you're a liar, you're a liar. Bullshit, 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 basically. We don't want the BS detector going off in our own minds and sabotaging ourselves. So anytime we're creating a goal, it's got to be positively stated, under my control, and it's got to be realistic. I have to believe I can accomplish it. I have to believe it's doable. Okay? Does that make sense? Everybody so far on the same page? Good. So, finally, this is probably the most important because I've seen most people sabotage themselves and not achieve goals on this last one. The last one is the E, ecologically balanced. Ecologically balanced. Had a lady try to hire me. We came in for a consult. Said, I want to quit smoking. I've been smoking for 22 years. I said, okay, great. Normally takes a little bit of time, you know, a few sessions, but we can get there together. We go through this, positively stated, under her control, realistic, finally get down to ecology. I asked her, I say, is there any reason why this is a good thing for you and you'd like to hang on to it? No, I can't think of any reason. Okay. Does this affect anyone else? Is there anybody else going to be affected at all by this decision? All of a sudden I see her eyes drop, see this look come over her face. I say, what is it? What's going on? She said, I cannot believe I didn't even think about this, but every night whenever my husband gets home from work, we go out to the back porch and we have a cigarette. We light up and we talk about his day, talk about my day. It's the way we wind down. We do it every single day. I said, so what are you going to do? She said, I don't know. I said, so you want to talk to him about it? Do you think he'd be on board? And she said, oh, he's not going to be on board with this at all. I mean, I told him that this was something I wanted to do, but I didn't even think about the fact that it was going to affect our relationship, going to affect both of us. I said, so why don't we go home? Why don't you talk to him? See if there's another way. See if there's another way that you can get what you want, get what he wants. You guys can do this thing together. You let me know. So I don't hear from her for 2 weeks. All of a sudden, one evening, phone rings. Pick it up. Hello? Hey, James, great news. What's up? You know, I went from smoking a pack a day. I'm now smoking a cigarette a day. What happened? Talked to my husband. Turns out we still just have our one cigarette on the back porch. Now, he hasn't stopped. He still smokes as much as he wants all day long. But now I just have the one every day. Are you happy? I'm ecstatic. Couldn't be happier. I'm good. We're good. She got what she wanted on the other side of it. It was what was positively stated, under her control, realistic, and ecologically balanced. Not everybody's at the same place. It's got to be real to you. It's got to be ecologically balanced. It's got to be something that works for your life. Or else you'll be sabotaging yourself, you'll be pulling back on the reins, and you won't let yourself achieve that goal. No matter how good it is, no matter how much you try to convince yourself that it's worth pursuing, you will not do it. Okay? So that last factor is super important. So, now that we've done that, we've created a positively stated, under our control, realistic, ecologically balanced goal that we want to pursue. Now, why is it important? Why does it matter? Why do you care? Why do you want to feel this way instead of that way? Why do you want to accomplish this goal? What would change for you if you woke up tomorrow and this was just done? What would change? What would be different in your life? If you walked out those doors and everything was different, what would change? If you were over this problem on the other side, then you need to write down what would change. Why? What's the point? And finally, when you left here, if this change had occurred, what now is totally different. So first of all, why is it important? And then once you walk out these doors, what's different? What's different? What's changed in your life? This will let you know, first of all, your personal emotional needs, why you need this change, and finally, the final outcome, is it worth pursuing it? This will let you know. Okay? So whenever you're trying to set goals for yourself, like I want to make 10 sales this month, I want to lose 10 pounds this month, I want to quit smoking, it doesn't matter what the goal is that you start setting it up, run it through this program. Run it through this filter every single time and watch yourself start to achieve more and more of those goals, more and more of those outcomes. So first of all, we preframe who we are. We connect to the best traits of ourselves, right? All the traits that we came up with together. That's the first step for everybody. Sitting down, making sure you pre-frame, use the pre-frame terminal, focus on thinking that you're there, about to embark on the journey of your lifetime. Connect with this version of yourself. Once you connect with this version of yourself, sit down and consider what is it that I have right now that I'm sick of, and what is it that I want. Use the pure model, running through the pure model, positively stated, under my control, realistic, ecologically balanced. Focus on why that matters, why it's important to you, and then what would change in your life if you actually accomplish that goal. Does that make sense? Awesome. Cool. Any questions?